Well, there's a battle brewing in the bush over power lines being built to nowhere. Hundreds of outraged farmers are calling on the New South Wales government's energy body, Energy Co, to consider other locations.
What is doing here? Locals warn the move will put even more pressure on rural communities already doing it tough, claiming instead of feeding the country, they're now tied up fighting for their land. For more, we're joined by Anna Young, a Walker farmer who has been impacted, like so many in your area. So just take us through. Energy Co say this move is critical to keep the lights on as we transition to renewable energy, but you're carrying the bag here.
Yeah, thanks, Nat and Shervo. Look, there's hundreds of farmers standing together in fighting this, and we're supported by our communities and our councils in all saying no to this transmission corridor. But I think the really critical thing is actually the irreversible damage that this is going to do to pristine and biodiverse areas, natural areas, as well as prime agricultural farmland. And really importantly, what's critical is that this is going to cost all of us more in our hip pockets, in what we pay later in our energy prices, because this line is a dud and the hub that it's trying to connect to doesn't even exist.
Really? Because they say they've already moved it once. It's going to, affect fewer koalas. They've engaged. Why is this one a dud?
Look, this line is a dud. Well, on that engagement, Nat, I think that's a really important point here. They actually haven't engaged. We only found out in October this year, just before the long weekend, with less than 24 hours notice before it went public. And when it's come to consultation, it has been really poor. So it's effectively been things like last week, they put out a statement saying that they were going to start actually acquiring land from mid next year, and then they were going to do the environmental impact statement at the second half of next year. So they're going to start acquiring land before they've even done the studies. And like when it also comes to consultation, they've said to us things like, it's kind of like if this was your house, Nat, let's say, they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, Nat, you get a choice here. Don't worry, we're going to take your house, but we're only going to take 1/3. So you can choose this third or that third. There's your consultation.
So what's your message to them? What do you want to say to them? How do you want them to behave here, or you just want them to go away?
Well, we want them to be responsible. We want them to actually listen to us, the farmers on the ground. This is prime agricultural land that they're trying to go through. And this route does not make sense when there are better, more viable options, like where the current easements exist, so where the current power lines are or next to them. This is going to be so damaging to farmers, and we just want to get back to our job. We want to feed the country. We want to pass on this land in a better condition than what we received it. And they're taking away that option because they've got forcible powers to put these lines in place, which just isn't fair.
Yeah, especially when the New England region produces about 22% of the state's beef in New South Wales. Interesting, especially that they're going to do the environmental study after they've acquired the land. We're going to keep on this. Anna, thank you very much for explaining it to us.
Thank you so much for having me on. We really hope everyone will get behind us, because this is just going to be a waste of money and an embarrassment for Minister Sharp and Premier Minns. And, it's just not fair for our farmers up here in this prime agricultural land.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
and she makes a really good point. It's going to hit everyone in their back pocket, because as we were talking about yesterday, the cost of meat alone at the supermarkets, if 22% of it is affected on top of that, because they've got other battles to fight, there you go.
Talk to the government on that one. Well.